Hey, it's Vic Estorero from Victory Realty Group.
And Shane Esterero from Victory Realty Group as well.
We just wanted to do a video talking about some of the things we like and some of the things that we dislike about the city of Guelph. We get a lot of questions because we're from the area, so we put this together and we hope this helps. So first we'll start with some of the things that we're not so fond of.
The first one for me is definitely the winter weather. I'm not a big fan of snow or cold, and in Guelph and the surrounding areas, sometimes that can stretch a little bit too long. Sometimes we'll get the first snow or really cold day in mid-October, and sometimes we can even see it stretch all the way to mid-April. We'll still get some days with snow and below zero temperatures. The good news is if you're from somewhere like out east or northern Ontario, it's nothing you're not used to, and it's probably not quite as harsh as you get there. The unfortunate thing is if you're coming from somewhere down south or out west in BC, you're not going to be used to things like that. So you're going to want to prepare for a harsher winter than you expect.
And then the low vacancy rate. So that's something that when you're looking at it from the point of view of a tenant, so you're looking to move to Guelph, you're looking to find a place to rent. Um, the fact is it's going to be tough because you can see in the circled portion of this article here, Guelph's vacancy rate is 1.4%. So that's almost half of the national average. Um, so what that means, I don't know if everybody knows what vacancy rate actually means, but if you look at all the rental properties available in Guelph at any point in time, we're saying that only 1.4% of them are actually vacant and available for a new tenant. So that makes it pretty tough. I guess to flip this onto the positive side, if you're a real estate investor, this is ideal because you're going to have your investment property pretty well full all the time, easy to rent out at any given time.
So another negative about Guelph is the affordability relative to the rest of the area. If you look at this chart, it's the last 5 years prices of all properties. We've got semi-detached, condos, towns, detached, and we're just comparing Guelph and a couple of the neighboring cities, Cambridge and Kitchener. You'll see the prices are obviously higher than they are in Cambridge and Kitchener.
Yeah, and when you consider that fact and you combine it with what we see on this chart, these are the tax rates or the mill rates. And Guelph, you can see right down at number 20 there. So their mill rate's 1.14%. So that's a little bit lower than Cambridge. But when you go back to this chart and you see that the average price of a property in Guelph is so much higher, the truth is you end up paying a lot more in property tax compared to Cambridge. Now, the tax rate and average price is higher than Kitchener. And then the other one we want to just sort of refer to or mention is number 15. Waterloo is obviously one of the neighboring cities as well. We didn't include it in our chart because Waterloo's average price for real estate is pretty close to Guelph. They're very similar. But if you do look at the tax rates, you pay a lot more tax in Guelph than you do in Waterloo, 1.14 versus 1.18. So yeah, the affordability and the amount of property tax you pay in Guelph is pretty significant compared to the neighboring cities. All right, and we'll move right on to the things that we like about Guelph.
So the first one for me that stands out is definitely the downtown area. It's a really nice looking downtown, and there's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of really good restaurants. There's some nice parks in the area. There's a lot of entertainment options. You've got the Sleeman Center for hockey games and concerts, the River Run Center as well. It's just a great place to go, whether you're a student at the University of Guelph. There's a lot of things for that cohort, but also for older people as well. There's just something for everyone there.
Yeah, even the architecture, if you're into that, this is the Basilica downtown. So it's one of the most beautiful buildings in the area, as far as I'm concerned. And then sort of just expanding on what you talked about, the downtown area, we do have a lot of excellent restaurants. Here you see some of the ones that are located right in the downtown area, and some of these are pretty standard franchise type places. And but there are a lot of other ones to choose from. Just from this little map here, you can see how many there are just in, within walking distance. So we go for a lot of rides and on our bike in the summertime, and many times we end up before we head home, we stop downtown and just park the bike and walk around and pick one of the restaurants, have a nice meal, and then head home. So lots going on down there, including in the winter months when we're not riding around on our bike. But we are season ticket holders to the Storm, to the Guelph Storm. So the Guelph Storm are a major junior hockey team, and they play at the Sleeman Center right downtown. And it's just a great night out. Again, I find that they have a lot of Friday night games, so we head downtown early. We park the car and we walk over to one of the restaurants, have a nice meal, and then go watch the game, which is really entertaining hockey. The other thing, the team has paid us back a little bit. We've been season ticket holders for a few years, and they won an OHL championship last year in 2019, and 2014 they were champs as well. So yeah, pretty fun to watch when they put a good winning product on the ice as well.
Another great thing about Guelph is it's got low unemployment rates. If you take a look at this chart, this is the last 5 months coming up to March 2020. And you'll see Guelph right now has the lowest out of these major cities in Ontario. Another good thing is if you look at the number from November 2019, it's the exact same as March 2020. So it's been stable for the last 5 months. We're not seeing a huge increase or decrease like you see in some of these cities. So it's a stable economy for sure.
Yeah, and here's a funny thing. So on the negative side of things, we talked about the affordability of Guelph compared to the neighboring cities, but we also wanted to use this on the positive side, because when we're comparing it to, the rest of Ontario in general, that's the red line there, and we threw Toronto on here, which is basically an hour away, less than an hour away from downtown Guelph. You see the gray line at the bottom is the average sales price for all property types in Guelph, and it is affordable when you're comparing it to those other two entities there. So it all depends on what the way you want to look at it. So maybe not as affordable as Cambridge and Kitchener, but definitely more affordable than Toronto, and for the most part, a lot of Ontario.
Another great thing about Guelph is the diverse economy, and probably contributes to that lower unemployment rate that we were talking about just a few slides ago. But if you take a look at this, we have a list of companies that are located within about a half-hour drive of Guelph. You'll see it's very diverse. We've got there's 3 universities on here. There's some manufacturing. There's some tech companies. So it's also Guelph is very big in the insurance industry. So if you're looking for somewhere to find gainful employment, Guelph's definitely on the top of the list for that.
Okay, and the last thing we want to mention is just, if you're an outdoorsy type person, there's a lot of beautiful spots that you can hit. This is a picture of Guelph Lake, so it's a pretty popular spot for a lot of people on beautiful summer days. Whether you want to go canoeing, there's a speed river that trails right through Guelph as well. So if you're into canoeing, motorboating, fishing, all that kind of stuff. If you're just like hiking, you want to go jog on a beautiful trail system, we have a lot of that available in the area here. Okay, so that's the end of the presentation. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We hope it helps. As always, if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to contact us anytime. The easiest way is probably just to go over to victoryrealtygroup.ca. Take care.